Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. We're so thrilled to be able to present to you two Henrys in honor of Pride Month. We were so excited when we first met Kenneth Jones. Kenneth came to our Writers' Symposium when Jeff Talbot was presenting, and I had the wonderful experience of driving to Atlantic City with both of them when Kenneth told me about this play. So here it is, Two Henrys by Kenneth Jones. And ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy.
Two Henrys by Kenneth Jones. Time, February 2012. Place, the screened-in poolside patio of a large home in a gated community in Southwest Florida. Characters, Constance, late 70s, 80s-ish, an upper-middle-class Florida resident. Henry, New York raised, a visitor from New York. Amy, 50, Constance's daughter. Scene 1, February 2012. The screened-in poolside patio, a lanai of a large home on a golf course in Southwest Florida. To the side sits a wet bar. From beyond upstage sliding glass doors or French doors, inside the house we hear party preparations. Constance, dressed elegantly and simply in a black dress suitable for a funeral, appears through the doors carrying a couple photo albums.
No, nothing's changed. I've just come back early. But let's get that cheese out on the buffet. It'll be better at room temperature.
She steps from the living room and into the lanai. She carries a couple photo albums with her.
The guests will be here in about 30 minutes, I imagine.
She deposits the albums on the table when her cell phone rings. She attempts to push decline, but it keeps ringing. She's not tech savvy.
Decline.
It goes silent. The phone rings again. She squints to figure out the buttons.
Decline.
It continues ringing. Exasperated, she opens the refrigerator door, deposits the still ringing phone into the fridge, and grabs a bottle of beer from it. She goes through the business of figuring out the best drink for her immediate need. First a beer, then wine, then settling on hard liquor, a whiskey. As she relishes her first sip, Henry, a man in his late 40s, appears at the door. He wears a black suit, stylish but not overdone. He carries a small piece of paper with him. Her back is to him, and he watches her for a moment. His first glimpse of her, she gulps a couple ounces of whiskey.
Hello?
Oh, oops. Hello, hi.
The door was open. The caterer said I should just come in.
Of course. Are you from the funeral home, one of the sons of Sullivan's and Sons?
No.
Well, I saw you at the cemetery, didn't I? Weren't you there?
Yeah.
Were you at the mass before that?
I got there at the very end, just before they closed the dusk, before you had the private family prayer. So I went on to the cemetery.
I thought I caught a glimpse of you graveside. Now, are you one of Kitty's kids?
Kitty.
Kit Morgan from the club? Are you with Kitty? I'm sorry. It's been a long week. I'm a little hazy.
No, I came alone. I'm not...
There's something familiar about you.
I was hoping to say hello to you at the cemetery, but you...
Yeah, I needed to get out of there. Another prayer from Father McDonald, and I would have hopped on the top of the casket and taken the ride down. I thought I should come back here and make sure the caterers were ready for everyone. Is there anything worse than no food at an Irish wake?
No booze?
You got that right.
I thought I might have a moment alone with you before everyone else, so when I saw you leave the cemetery, I followed you. I followed this map.
Oh, family and friends are welcome. A meal is part of the package. Viewing, mass, burial, brunch. That's how we've always done it. All are welcome. I'm Constance.
Sorry, I'm Henry.
Henry. Well, thank you for...
My condolences. I was...
What? Sorry.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I wanted to meet you.
Oh, that's kind. Now, how did you know Mike?
Oh, I read about...
There's a crash of glass from within the house.
God damn it. Excuse me. This is why I came back early. No one can be trusted. The help always needs help.
She disappears into the house, leaving him alone. He stands for a moment and then notices the open photo album. Turns a page, she turns another page. He stops, and he reacts to a photo of something familiar.
Henry, make yourself a drink at the bar out there. Is there ice?
Yes.
He opens the fridge, pulls out a can of soda, but also discovers the cell phone inside. He pulls it out and holds it, not knowing what to do with it.
There is a glassware emergency we're dealing with here. The caterer's glasses, not ours, thank God.
He puts the cell phone back in the fridge and fills a glass with ice and cracks the diet soda and takes it with him to the table. He sits and pages through a photo album, flipping back and forth between pages. He sees something surprising on a page. Constance returns, startling him.
Okay. Disaster cleaned up. Catering staff admonished. Buffet being spread. I deserve a drink. Is that all you're having? I'm having something stronger. Is it too early for a Manhattan, do you think?
I don't know, is it?
The question was rhetorical. Don't you want something stronger?
This is fine.
There's plenty of food to come.
She notes the photo album on the table.
I'm not sure where I should lay these out. I thought people might want to see Mike in his natural habitat.
She looks at them from over his shoulder, and she turns the pages.
Mike on the golf course. Mike at the clubhouse on stag night. Mike with his grandkids on the beach. Mike at church. Mike breaking ground at the university. Mike with...
An image that hurts. She stops herself and moves on to another page.
Do you know our daughter, Amy?
No.
Mike with our daughter, Amy. She lives up in Milwaukee. She's down for the festivities. You know, the funeral, I mean.
She turns the page, but finds another unsettling photo.
Well, I don't know if this photo album is a great idea, frankly. It just shows how much we've all aged. What do you think?
You all seem very happy.
Ah, yes, we all seem very happy. We're good at that here in Florida. The sunshine somehow makes everything better, except for that brief passing thunder shower every afternoon. Mike wanted his funeral brunch to be happy, so he insisted that we hire a barbershop quartet. When we prearranged our funerals, I told him, yes, Mike, of course we'll hire a barbershop quartet for your wake. Yes, men in red striped shirts with garters on their sleeves. All the hits, In the Good Old Summertime, and Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and By the Light of the Silvery Moon. Yes, Mike. And he said, are you bullshitting me to shut me up? And I said, you'll just have to wait and see. Forgive me, Mike. There will be no 4-part harmony today. Can you think of anything in worse taste than that at a funeral?
Maybe banjos,
Or harmonicas?
bagpipes, tap dancing.
Dixieland bands, because this isn't New Orleans. We bury people differently on Marco Island. With Bloody Marys, not banjos. Oh, do you want a Bloody Mary? That's more of a brunch drink. It's brunch time. Maybe you...
No, I'm fine with this.
So, how do you know Mike?
I don't. I know of him. I Google searched him.
I beg your pardon.
I entered his name, well, both of your names, in an internet news search.
Internet news search?
If your names appear anywhere on the internet, like in a newspaper story or something, I get an email alert about it. That's how I found out about his passing, so I thought I would come down and meet you.
Come down?
Amy, a frazzled 50-ish woman dressed in black, appears from the living room at the doors. She holds a tiny white flag with the word funeral on it on a metal stick with a magnet base.
Mom, what are you doing here?
Well, it is my home. I don't want to be there.
Well, that was quite an exit you made. First, you didn't want to drive in the limo.
I wanted to drive myself.
The bereaved shouldn't be driving.
Well, the bereaved wanted to have little control in a week when nothing can be controlled.
Well, then you leave the graveside.
I said I would see everybody at the house.
We were in the middle of burying Dad.
I had said goodbye. I was all cried out.
And you tore out of there. This flag was still stuck to your car in the driveway. The funeral home needs this back, Mom. You want this back, don't you?
No, I'm
He's
not.
not with the funeral home.
I've been calling your cell phone. There's 75 people watching Dad get lowered into the ground. Dave and the kids are there. Father McDonald is there.
Well, old MacDonald knows that farm. He's planted there before, hasn't he? And they all have maps to find their way here. So what's the worry? I'm here. I'm ready. I'm waiting. Oh, do you know Henry?
Henry.
No, we've never met.
He extends his hand and she takes it.
No. Hi.
Henry's come down.
I read about Mike's passing. I wanted to offer my condolences.
Again, how do you know Mike?
I didn't know him.
Listen, Mom, why don't you freshen up? The guests will be here shortly. Henry, it was so nice of you to drop by.
Well, now, I'm curious.
I'm from New York. I was a friend of Henry's.
Henry's.
Listen,
My Henry?
Yes.
but don't you want to freshen up? How's the progress with the food? Do they need to be looked after? The help always needs help.
I just wanted to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
And your name is Henry.
Yes.
And you read about Mike online and you just came down.
Yes.
And you were friends with Henry.
That's right. I wanted to express my condolences.
Isn't that thoughtful? It's so nice of you to come down. Isn't that nice, Amy? A friend of Henry's from New York.
Yeah, that's nice.
Listen, I think I will freshen up. Of course, you'll stay for lunch, Henry.
Yes, for lunch.
Thank you.
The doorbell rings.
Amy, would you get the door?
Of course.
I'm glad you're here, Henry. I am. Make yourself at home.
Constance exits. The phone begins to ring in the refrigerator. The sound perplexes Henry. He locates it, opens the door, retrieves it, peeks into the house, but no one is there. Places the ringing phone on the laptop, opens a photo album, turns the page, and examines a photo more closely. Scene 2. About 3 hours later, Henry sits at a table or a chaise alone, wearing sunglasses and soaking up the sun and breeze, a glass and a soda can at his side. He may have shed his jacket. From inside the house, we hear the chatter of people, clatter of silverware, the distinct sound of a live barbershop quartet. Henry is lost in thought, his face skyward, the napkin covers his empty plate, and Amy enters with a plate full of food and a very full glass of wine. She eats and drinks throughout the following exchange.
Hello, you're out here all alone. May I join?
Of course.
You like the lanai?
The what?
The lanai. They call these lanais. I guess patio sounds kind of cheap ass. It's a Hawaiian word, lanai. It means, well, I don't know what the hell it means. Sounds
It's a Hawaiian island, isn't it? Lanai.
exotic. Shit, he filled my glass to the rim. I didn't need all of this. I've already had 2 glasses.
It's nice out here. It's so quiet.
Well, that'll change when everyone leaves. Mom will have the Weather Channel or the Food Network on before the last car is gone. They don't like the quiet. It's always Fox News or food or forecasts here, but yeah, no, I hear you. It's kind of great to be surrounded by nature, if you call a golf course nature. There's good bird watching thanks to the water hazard. Dad loved the bird watching. There are books around here somewhere about it. Rara avis or whatever they call it. We used to sit here with binoculars. They're bald eagles on the course. I've seen them devouring smaller birds or squirrels or whatever American eagles devour.
Any alligators out there?
On Marco Island? Oh, no, I don't think so. But I'm not here year round. No, I think the only threat here is the occasional golf ball coming through the screen. A ball came through, hit Mom once when she was in the pool, right in the forehead. She looked like the Elephant Man for a week.
The unseen barbershop quartet begins another number inside. Shine On Harvest Moon or something. Amy takes note of their transition.
Aren't they amazing? Oh, did you see the look on my mom's face when they strolled in singing whatever it was?
Yes, she looked surprised.
Oh, she was blown away. Dave and I arranged for it. She had no idea. Dad always said that he wanted a barbershop quartet at his wake. Joy, music, nothing mournful. I think Mom forgot, but I didn't. I wanted it to be special for her and to honor his wishes. You know, there's something important about that.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thanks. Yeah. He was a good guy. You get enough food?
I'm stuffed. That was quite a spread.
Well, did you meet anyone? Talk to anyone?
I met Kit Morgan and her husband, George, John, and an old woman with a hearing aid,
One of many here.
and a couple from next door, from
Michigan. Yeah, they're all snowbirds. Not a native Floridian among them. Well, maybe the catering staff. You know, I knew who you were the minute Mom said your name, Henry. It just hit me, you know? And I've seen your face before in photos, but you're much older now, of course, grayer. Well, we're all grayer since Henry. And of course, I knew that Henry's roommate was a guy named Henry. He once told me that all of your friends in New York used to call you
the two Henrys.
Henrys. Yeah.
He told you that.
Yeah. At that last Christmas, his last Christmas, he was so sick that his face just lit up when he talked about you and New York, the adventures of the two Henrys. He said you two were fearless about exploring the city together.
Yeah, I guess we were fearless. We go to crumbling old graveyards stuck between buildings downtown, colonial homes in Upper Manhattan. We took a lot of photos of a lot of plaques. Teddy Roosevelt was born here, or Margaret Sanger had a clinic here. And restaurants, of course, of obscure, unmarked places. We went to this Italian place in the Bronx once. No sign on the awning, and we sat elbow to elbow with mobsters. They treated us like family, sharing bottles of Chianti and plates of pasta.
Mom and Dad were absolutely terrified when Henry moved there after college. That was, what, 1986? I graduated in 84.
New York is terrifying to most people who don't live there. It's the only place I ever wanted to be. I moved there when I was 21.
Same with Henry. I can't imagine going there now, let alone at 21. And one of the few things that Henry brought down to Florida with him at the end was this shoebox of photographs. They must be around here somewhere. God, remember photographs. That last Christmas, we looked through the photos together, almost in secret at night after Mom and Dad went to bed.
In secret. Why in secret?
He didn't share much about New York with Mom and Dad. They never went up there.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. Dad, Mom, shit, I sound like Dr. Seuss. I'm half in the bag. I've already had 4 glasses. They didn't go to New York probably because they were scared of what they would find.
Like what?
Oh, God, you know, the truth, I guess. I mean, I knew about Henry and you. We were pretty close.
Were you?
Oh, sure, yeah. I was the cool older sister. Henry and I had good talks. I mean, at the end. He shared secret things my parents didn't know about.
Secret things.
Private things. Stuff about you, him, his illness.
Did you talk to your parents about his illness?
Well, no, not in any detail. They knew what it was and they hated it, as we all do. But They get points for turning that bedroom into a hospital room, hospice, whatever you call it. But they just acted like it was, I don't know, some terrible flu.
Did their friends know about it?
Well, they called it brain cancer, which it is what it was, really. They didn't want to put another name to it. I guess it was shame, Catholic shame. Why name it? Naming unlocks the truth. Talking about it, forget it. You know, why let the shadow of truth spoil their golden years? What all parents want, particularly after retirement age, is to know that they did a good job, that they raised only happy, healthy, wealthy, and normal children. They sure as shit don't want to be pals. They don't want to know you, your secrets, or share theirs. They don't want to go deep, dissect the past, give things proper names. They just want to look back and say, yeah, every choice that we made along the way was the right choice. Good for us. So we bite our tongues so they can feel good about themselves.
How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel like drinking. Jesus, listen to me yammer. You'd think I'd have no one to talk to. Anyway, the point is that Henry didn't share his other life because they didn't want to hear about it. Not in depth. Henry and I, we bit our tongues.
They couldn't handle knowing about me.
Oh, about any of it, anything that's different. Different wasn't exactly embraced by my father. His mother was pretty much in lockstep behind him. If you weren't Irish Catholic, if you weren't white, if you weren't Republican, if you didn't speak English, if you didn't play golf, if you were a woman, whatever. Jesus, listen to me. It's like my 5th glass of wine. I never drink this much. What are you drinking?
Diet 7-Up.
Diet 7-Up. God, remember 7-Up. Ah, who drinks that? Do you not drink booze? I mean,
I don't.
no, neither did Henry. That's another thing. If you didn't drink, Daddy was suspicious of you. That was occupational, I think. He was very high up in Miller Beer, you know, up in Milwaukee. So drinking was fundamental, like buying an American car if you worked for Ford. You drank, you drink as a show of solidarity.
Do you still work for Miller?
You knew I worked for Miller. No, not since the boys were born. Dave works there, though. Daddy got Dave a good job there. I'm a stay-at-home mom like my mother was. Did you meet Dave and the boys?
No.
Oh, he took them off to the beach. You know, it's so hard on them. I mean, it's hard on all of us, but kids, teenagers, they're so confused anyway. Death.
How old are they?
Billy is 13 and Danny is 15. A jock and a poet. Bronze and brains. It's like having Bart Starr and, I don't know, name a poet.
Shakespeare.
It's like having Bart Starr and Shakespeare under one roof.
Who's Bart Starr?
What? Seriously?
Seriously?
He and Brett Favre are like superstars
In
Brett Favre. Bart Starr.
Are these comic book characters?
Are you shitting me?
I'm guessing these are sports stars.
You are guessing these are sports stars. Oh my God. You and Henry belong together, all right. Jesus.
I regret that I reinforced the gay stereotype of being sports ignorant.
They are Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah, well, I know them, like Guy Lombardo and...
Guy Lombardo, Vince Lombardi. Jesus. Were you born in the jazz age? My larger point here is, shit, I don't know what my larger point there was. Wait, yes, the kids. The kids. I have no idea where they get it from, the bronze and the brains. I wish the boys had known Henry. He was just about the brightest light in our family. Smart and funny. It's no wonder he went into marketing, selling things to people. He would sell you the moon. And beautiful.
Beautiful.
You'd be sitting next to him in a church pew with the... Hold on, one moment, please. As I was saying, you'd be sitting next...
Maybe it's the caterers or another barbershop quartet.
I don't know who it is, but they have horrible timing. You'd be sitting next to him in a church pew with the morning light pouring down on him through stained glass. He was like out of a painting, beautiful, but then a wicked streak. Kneeling there in the sunlight, this angelic boy would turn and say something nasty funny to get you through the rest of the mass, like wondering what the priest was wearing under his vestments.
Beautiful and funny and wicked. How come you never visited us in New York?
He had his life, we had ours, and Dave hates New York.
And when Henry came to Florida for Christmases, you were never down here, were you?
No, Dave never wanted to come to Florida for Christmas. Dave hates Florida. Dave likes white Christmases, and we sure should have them in Milwaukee. We spend the holidays with Dave's folks in Kenosha. It's a carbohydrate killing field. I was down here at that last Christmas, though. Henry's last Christmas. I mean, you never came to Florida.
It was never presented as an option.
I meant at the end,
What?
when he was dying. Well, you had your own family to see at Christmas, right? You should be with your family at Christmas. Where did you grow up? Where are your folks? Oh, wait, don't tell me they're in Florida.
No, they died when I was 17, a car crash, my senior year of high school.
Jesus, you have lousy luck. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I really have to stop with this wine. This has got to be my 6th glass.
I grew up in Indiana.
To Midwest people, we usually know when to keep our mouths shut.
And for the record, in our 10 years together, Henry made it very clear that New York and Florida should never meet, not even once at Christmas. Especially not that last Christmas, just not. I didn't want to come down at the end.
So when Henry visited my parents for Christmas all those years, where did you spend yours?
Henry would leave for Florida, and I would cook a big meal for friends in New York, the orphans who didn't go back home. I still do that.
Your parties are probably way better than mine. And when Henry came to Florida for Christmases, I'm sure Dad and Mom took Henry to the club. Mom hates to cook. And that was a chance for Dad to show off Henry, the golden child, to all the men of the club.
I always wanted to come to Florida for years.
Then maybe you should have persisted.
You think your father wanted Henry's lover home for the holiday?
It's not exactly the stuff of Bing Crosby songs, but shit, maybe you should have tried. You could have lied and just played the roommate.
Biting my tongue for their comfort. I did it with my aunt and uncles during college, that generation raised on Norman Rockwell. Henry and I were not just roommates.
Of course you weren't just roommates. Look, just because I'm from Milwaukee and 2 bottles in does not mean I'm an idiot. If you'd really wanted to, you would have made it happen. That's all I'm saying. What is it you do up in New York?
I'm a sous chef.
A sous chef. A boy named Sue. I remember he said you worked in a restaurant. Well, no wonder you didn't come down at the end. You were working in a kitchen.
That's not why I wasn't here. Henry didn't want to be here.
But Mom wants you here today. Weird. I finally have the chance to get close to Mom now that Dad's gone, and here's another Henry stealing sunshine. This is kind of a funny time to make an appearance. What, 15 years after my brother's death? Now and not then, not even in Henry's last days.
Well, this seems like
Now.
all time. It's something I've thought about for years, meeting your mother.
At my father's funeral? Weird.
Offering comfort somehow, representing Henry.
Duh, the daughter's here. Mother gets comfort from me. I give her that now, no one else. You know what? Your visit isn't about her. It's about you. Selfish.
Maybe. Yes.
Let me ask you something. If my mother had died first, would you be down here consoling my father?
I don't know. I like to think, that I might, maybe, possibly, not.
That was a whole lot of hesitation.
Henry spoke so well of your mother. He said to me that he sometimes imagined what it would be like if your father died first. He imagined her moving to New York. And he could go to restaurants and to the theater, her and him and me, us, all of us cooking together.
Girlfriends.
Best friends.
Mother in New York, I don't see it. She doesn't come to see me. She prefers Wisconsin over Florida. It's Dad who wanted Florida. She doesn't even golf. And cooking? Not her. And maybe watching you cook. Your domestic picture, Henry's domestic picture, was unrealistic.
He called her a diamond in the rough.
Well, I don't think she would have polished up the way he had hoped. She was bred to be a housewife, not some explorer in New York City. This is how some of us ended up, and there's no shame in it. I'm not ashamed.
I never said you were ashamed.
Yeah, no, I'm not. And I don't need a career in beer or to flee to New York to be happy. I found it. I got it in my boys. What the hell were you thinking coming down here?
In my hall closet, I keep our old answering machine. You know, from the days before voicemail. There used to be a tape in it, a recording of Henry's voice on it. He's in Florida at that last Christmas, and it's late at night. And he's telling me how big the moon is through the palm trees. He's going to try to swim. He says it's peaceful. That his parents are asleep and that you're coming down alone without Dave to visit tomorrow, and none of it feels like Christmas. But, he says, he's having a good, clear couple of days. He tells me again that he's sorry for his abrupt but necessary exit, but he wants it this way. Now, the best way for me to move forward is to close doors. And then he says something about a Maria von Trapp and the Mother Abbess, which I don't completely understand.
When God closes the door, somewhere he opens a window. The sound of friggin' music.
And he says, Henry, and he's cut off. He has exceeded his 90-second limit, and he's gone.
God, remember answering machines. Fucking answering machines.
And for years, I used to play it over and over, but the tape wore thin, and the voice grew reedier. And one day last month, it snapped. The tape, his voice, is gone. Just a memory. A memory. I can't face throwing out that machine, though. It's still there in our hall closet.
You should chuck it. Find the guts to chuck it.
I always took some comfort in knowing that as long as Henry's parents were alive, part of him wasn't gone. The most intimate aspects of him still lived in other people's memories, and that these people knew what his last months were like. I didn't know what happened to him at the end, his last days, the great mystery of my life.
You're like 15 years too late, kiddo. And by the way, Henry is still around as long as he's in my memory. He doesn't die with my parents. He dies with me. I own him. He's mine.
Constance enters.
Who do you own?
Oh, no one. Oh, we're just gabbing. What happened to the music? Where are the lucky clovers?
The lucky clovers have been sent packing to greener pastures. I've had enough music from the gay 90s.
Mother, you didn't.
I did, and I have also dispatched the stragglers. 3 hours is my limit for a wake. The caterers are cleaning up. I told them to take the leftovers and donate them.
I haven't tipped the quartet yet. I was supposed to tip them. Damn it, Mother.
Amy exits.
I'm sorry that I neglected you. Is that a gin and tonic, I hope?
That is Diet 7-Up.
God, no. Don't you drink?
She fixes herself a drink at the wet bar.
No,
Henry never drunk.
didn't he?
Well, you must know that. Have you been thumbing through those? Mike and I put those albums together.
She stands over him and opens one of the albums and gently rests a hand on his shoulder.
I know this picture. This is in New York on Henry's 30th birthday. I cooked dinner for him and a bunch of friends at this restaurant in the village.
You a chef?
A sous chef, yeah.
You must be a good cook. He looks very happy and well fed.
This isn't the whole picture.
No?
This is a different size than the other photos. It's been cut in half.
Has it? Are you sure?
Yeah, I was in this picture. If you look closely, that's actually my hand on Henry's shoulder. It's embodied.
Are you sure?
The album is filled with these half pictures.
Well, Mike put these together. I think he must have wanted to fit in as many pictures as possible, so he made some trims.
She closes the photo album to change the subjects.
So, what are your plans?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I guess it's time I left.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. You have other friends and family down here?
No, I flew in this morning to meet you. That's it. That's my itinerary.
Amy returns.
The lucky clovers have been tipped.
All the way from New York, just for me?
In Henry's memory, to tell you that Henry's friends were thinking of you.
Henry's memory.
I'm going to check into my hotel. I fly back to New York tomorrow.
Henry's a sous chef. That means assistant.
Yes, I watch the Food Network.
Well, he hasn't quite graduated to head chef after all these years. He's probably needed at work tomorrow.
A hotel? What hotel?
Holiday Inn Express.
That's where Dave and I are staying.
God, remember Holiday Inn Hollydomes? You kids thought it was so exotic when we stayed there on the way down to Florida. Indoor pool, tropical plants. Now it's just Holiday Inn Express.
They don't make Hollydomes anymore, Mother. Or Stuckey's. Remember Stuckey's? And they shut down Rock City in Ruby Falls years ago.
Did they? No, they didn't.
Well, you never let us stop there anyway. See Rock City, see Ruby Falls. Not us.
Poor deprived child. Henry, you stay here tonight.
What? Are you kidding?
No, I have a reservation at the...
I insist. You made the trip for us, and I won't have a friend of Henry's staying at a hotel.
But we're staying at the hotel.
Your choice.
There's no room for the boys here. If you hadn't converted my bedroom to a craft room, there would be room. She doesn't even craft.
I like to think of myself on the verge of crafting. I have the tools, and it's not your bedroom, it's my house. You were welcome to stay here in the ensuite, and you know we have an air mattress for the boys in the craft room. But you opted for the hotel. Dave hates being here anyway.
Dave doesn't hate being here.
No hurt feelings. Now we have a room and a full bath for Henry. You can swim if you like. There are trunks and a towel in the dresser drawer. We have, 6 televisions? Watch any of them. Have the run of the house. I guess I shouldn't have sent away all those leftovers. I'm a terrible cook, but I'll boil you an egg or something.
Well,
if it's company you want, Mother, I could slay here. I am totally here for you. Dave and the boys and I are totally here for you too.
You're totally here for me, huh? I think when Dave and the boys come back from the beach, you should crash at the hotel, sleep this off, and come have breakfast here tomorrow. Cancel your reservation. I'll pay the penalty. I insist.
Amy's cell phone buzzes. She looks at the text message.
Ugh, Dave's around the corner. Look, I'm too drunk to argue. You don't seem to need anything more, Mother. Henry is here for you. I'll be in the driveway.
Henry stands to say goodbye, but Amy ignores him. Constance kisses her daughter, and they share an awkward, difficult embrace, and then Amy exits.
I'm going to change clothes. You have a bag?
In the rental car?
Go get it. I'll put it in Henry's room.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. Thanks, Mrs.
Constance.
Constance.
He exits, and she stacks the albums and exits with a drink. Scene 3, a few hours later at night with reflections of the light from the pool on the walls. At the table, Constance and Henry are in more casual clothing, finishing the last bites of food. She has a half-finished whiskey on ice in front of her.
Tell me your secret.
My secret.
I can't cook to save my life. I really do think that was the best omelet I've ever eaten. What's the secret?
A couple of secrets. First, a low flame. Not high, don't scorch the eggs. Second, a tablespoon of whole milk, which I'm shocked you had. Most people keep skim milk.
I drink tea, traditional, brewed with loose tea leaves with whole milk in it. I like it thick and strong like the English.
And once you whisk the egg and milk and pour it into a buttered pan, stir the middle slightly with a spatula, then step away.
Step away.
Don't touch it. Let it do its thing.
But you want to pull at the edges
No,
or jiggle the skillet, flip it.
just stay away from it a minute or two, then take it off the burner. Add maybe one ingredient, don't overwhelm it. Cover with a lid. It finishes cooking. Roll the omelet onto a plate.
Oh, and this cheese.
I found it in the back of a fridge, white cheddar.
It must be from Christmas. We get these cheese baskets from friends in Wisconsin. It's 2 months old. Are you sure it's still good?
It keeps longer than you think.
It must still be good because I've never had a better omelet. I'm sorry that I'm so useless in the kitchen. It's a hell of a way to treat a guest, make him cook me dinner. In spite of your lesson, you can be sure that I won't be taking up cooking as a hobby. Not sure what the hell I'll take up.
Volunteering.
Some trustees from Ave Maria University over in Naples were here today. Mike was on a mission down here to build Ave Maria into the next great Catholic American university. Mike treated it like a full-time job in his retirement. Helped raise millions. Today, the trustees asked me to take Mike's place on the honorary board, volunteer fundraising. Oh, they don't call it fundraising anymore, I guess. I guess they call it giving. No, I won't be volunteering, at least not at Ave Maria University. I have lost track of the time today. What a terrible hostess. I'm sorry I took that nap after everybody left. I didn't mean to desert you.
You needed sleep. You probably haven't.
Oh, I haven't slept all week. I turned the ringer off the phone. I don't have any talk left in me. I always hated talking on the phone. Mike answered the phone in our house. He picked up the mail at the front gate. He was the gatekeeper. Nap did me good. And that's a perfect sofa. Mike used to say it was like falling asleep in the hand of God. I hope you occupied yourself.
I read a book.
Did you go for a swim? Or did you find the swim trunks in your room? Oh, I should have gotten them out for you. There's a beach towel there too. I'll go get them.
No, I'm fine.
This past week, it was so crowded with everything. Seems so long ago now that the doctor told me Mike was gone. It seems like forever ago. And it was 6 days ago? Was it? This is my first real breather. This calls for a drink. What goes with eggs, white or red?
Either.
Which do you want? Oh, no, you don't want any. You don't drink, truly? Just like Henry. He's the only one in our family who never drank. Why do you think that is? Well, yes, Henry, but also my Uncle Earl. My Uncle Earl lived in a massive, all alone in a massive 19th century house up in Milwaukee. This house had a big stone basement that Uncle Earl turned to a kind of, I don't know, speakeasy style tap room. The bar, made of oak, he salvaged from the old Garrick Theater in downtown Milwaukee. He decorated the basement with all kinds of liquor and beer paraphernalia, but no beer for Uncle Earl. I never saw him drink a drop. He drank only root beer. I was 10 years old, and my father let me sip his beer. My mother let me sip her whiskey sour. My grandfather let me sip his gin. They all burned my throat, and I wondered why anyone drank such things. So Uncle Earl would pour me a mug of root beer and slide it down the length of the bar. Big smile on his face. I thought he had the best life. I wanted to live there with him forever and make meals of pretzels and root beer.
What happened?
I grew up. I met Mike. He taught me how to drink. Mike was a handsome frat boy, and frat boys drank. Mike and I, we were a match from the beginning. That's powerful stuff when you meet your match and you build a home together.
And what about Uncle Earl?
Diabetes, all that root beer, they amputated his legs by degrees over the years. Terrible thing to have your legs cut out from under you. The extended suffering. It was sensible of Mike to go quickly, suddenly like he did. No lingering. Anyway, good old Uncle Earl, sober and alone, never married, no kids. I don't even know what he did for a living. Sheet music sales or something. He knew theater people. That big old house was torn down, I think. Boy, I haven't thought about him in years.
Is he in any of these albums?
Oh no, this is just immediate family. I have old family pictures of him in the back closet somewhere. Some of his belongings trickled down to me, chunky gold rings and things. Mike called him a queer duck.
A queer duck, like queer.
Oh no, I don't think so. I mean, that was a word we used, yes, but we didn't mean it in a bad way.
Oh, he was gay.
Oh, who knows? I mean, he lived with a man for a while, I think. They shared that house for a while, I think. But no.
Well, he was in the sheet music business. He knew theater people who never married. You add these things up, you wonder.
Do you? Those are factors, not facts. And some people have the good sense and good taste to not talk about their sins.
Sins?
Mike called them homosinuals, more of an offhanded remark, almost lighthearted.
Lighthearted. You think it's a sin?
Oh, I don't use those labels. Mike was more Catholic about it all. Anyway, he hated that the gays were always shoving it in our faces, the parades, the talk shows.
What about your gay friends? Do they shove it in your faces?
Our gay friends? Oh, Lord, we don't have gay friends.
I guess if you call a person a homosexual, that might discourage friendship.
Well, what can I say? We don't know gay people. We were born in the Depression.
Because all of that gay stuff began around 1960, right? You really don't know any gay people. No gay apples in your family tree. I mean, beyond the obvious.
Oh, Lord, no. Though Mike's best friend from college, Larry Porter, up in Madison, has a son who is that way, we think. A really successful guy, a lawyer, lives with another guy anyway. I guess that even in the best families...
Even in the best families, something as terrible as being gay. Like having a serial killer.
I don't mean it like that.
Did Mike ever talk to his best friend about it, about the son?
Oh, no, I doubt it. And what the hell is there to say?
I don't know. How about Larry? I hear you have a gay son. So do I. How do you feel about that?
This is the first time the fine point of the late Henry's sexuality has been spoken, and it's less comfortable territory for Constance.
No, that never happened. Some things are better left unspoken.
Like Uncle Earl.
Like Uncle Earl, sober and alone. Nothing wrong with being sober and alone. Like Henry. There is a dry side to our family. Uncle Earl, Henry, teetotalers.
Really?
Hey, you have lucked out with this weather. February can be tricky. Arctic air can push down here and it can be positively 55 degrees. It's balmy this week. 75 degrees at 9 o'clock at night. Let me find those swim trunks.
I didn't look.
She's already stepped away, walking deep into the house, raising her voice to talk to him.
I'll get them. You really should swim. Have a dip. It is so relaxing under the stars. It must be 20 degrees or worse in New York. Make hay while the sun shines, or moon shines. The pool's been chlorinated this week. This man comes every Monday. A Cuban man. At least I think he's Cuban. I didn't ask. Here you are. What is it?
This is Henry's bathing suit.
Yes, I saved it. I mean, it's been in that drawer in his room for years. I just thought someone might need spare swim trunks one day. It's anyone's now.
Did you save all of his clothes?
Well, he didn't come down with much.
Just one suit.
Just one suitcase.
Did you keep his clothes?
No, of course not. Yes, everything. I mean, there really wasn't much, but I wanted to keep it all. Mike insisted that we keep it all in a box in the garage, but I knew it would get mildewed out there. So I put the box in the back of the closet.
With photos of Uncle Earl.
Yes, and now with all of Mike's clothes, which, oddly enough, I feel I could get rid of tomorrow. Isn't that funny? Just calling the boys from the church resale shop.
I donated Henry's clothes to an AIDS charity or resale shop. Do you want to go through it?
Through what?
Mike's clothes.
With you?
I mean, if you want help cleaning it out, I could do it with you if you feel ready.
I don't think I'm ready, thanks.
Well, the offer stands.
Well, it's not really your place.
No, of course, no.
Why are you here?
To offer my sympathy.
So you said.
I wanted to meet you before
Before the parade passes by. Henry loved show tunes.
Yes, to a fault.
What, you don't like a good show tune?
Well, not 24/7.
Was that the worst tension between roommates?
Roommates. Yeah, that's about as bad as it got, I guess, until he started changing.
Changing.
Getting sad, shutting down, freezing me out. We both let it go on for too long, and then the symptoms began. The confession.
I might switch to red.
The confession that he went untested for years. He was probably undiagnosed for years.
I'll stick to the white. The bottle's open.
Rapid decline, the golden plane ticket to Florida.
Well, it's important to be with family in times of sickness. He wanted to be home.
Our place was home.
Sure, but you've moved on now. You have a new place.
I didn't move. I'm still there.
Well, I hear you. Being alone is no picnic, as I have suddenly learned.
I'm not alone. Sorry. Of course, it's terrible to be alone. And I'm so sorry for your loss.
You said you're not alone. You live with someone?
Yeah, I'm getting married in May.
Well, hey, congratulations. That's great. Ding dong, the bells are gonna chime. Good. Good for you. What's her name?
Sorry?
Her name?
David.
Yes, well, I didn't want to assume.
It's legal in New York now. They just passed it.
Yeah, I saw that on Fox News. Everything's legal in New York now.
Well, not everything.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Legal or no, I don't know. It's somehow not the same.
Not the same as what?
Not the same as my marriage. It's different. I don't know that it should even be called marriage. I'm okay with civil union. It's 2012. I'm okay with that. But marriage to Mike and me is a man and woman united by God. I gather that Henry stopped going to Mass once he moved to New York. Will this be a church wedding for you?
A Unitarian minister will marry us.
Ah, yes, Unitarians. To do your own thing religion, where Jesus is on equal footing with Martin Luther King and Susan B. Anthony and Gandhi. Pick a prophet, anything goes. No, but cheers. That's wonderful for you. I always wondered, when two men get married, who wears the dress?
Is that what you wonder? Is that what gay marriage is to you?
Oh, I don't know. I've seen that Birdcage movie, that La Cage tour played here. I've seen those pride marches on the news, the drag queens. Don't men dress up like that?
In my experience, very few, although we do have men in dresses to thank for the gay rights movement.
Gay rights. A chance to dance naked on a parade float. I watch TV.
That's one part of the picture. You shouldn't believe everything you see in pop culture or on Fox News.
In my day, at the risk of sounding like Eleanor Roosevelt,
Eleanor Roosevelt, I'm all ears.
in my day, gay was a perfectly wonderful word. It's a shame what happened to it. Why couldn't it be another word? Look, you've had your Will and Grace and your Ellen DeGeneres and your Rosie O'Donnell, so I suppose gay marriage was the next logical step. Mike wondered if marrying your Labrador retriever was going to be next. Dog license / marriage license, a twofer.
She accidentally breaks a glass in the wet bar sink. She recoils from pain and there's blood on her hand. Henry leaps to help her, grabbing her hand.
Jesus, you okay? Careful.
No, I'm fine.
Let me see. I've worked in enough kitchens.
He holds a bar towel under her hand.
No, don't touch me.
I can help.
I don't want what you have.
Excuse me?
Well, it's not safe, is it? Exposure to you?
Really? Hold still. Do you even know what you're talking about? This looks like a bad surface cut. Can you move your fingers? Good. You have a first aid kit.
Under the sink.
Need pressure on it. I don't think you need stitches. Like I said, I've seen enough knife cuts in my day in the kitchens I've been in. You get to learn what cuts are most severe.
With bandage and alcohol wipes, he tends to her wound. The cut is in her palm, so it's worth applying a square bandage and wrapping the hand with gauze to maintain pressure. It's an extended caregiving ritual.
You're going to live.
May I have my hand back?
You worry about our blood mixing. Could you be so unaware after all these years of how HIV works to think it's passed so casually?
There's no need to talk about this.
Did you and Mike ever read any books about this? Educate yourself.
There's no need to talk about this.
Did you even go near Henry at the end? Did you hold him?
There's no need to talk about this.
There's every need after 15 years, don't you think? Aren't you sick with need to talk about this?
We had a nurse. We didn't have to read about this thing. She did it all. She handled it all of the mess of it, the mess of this terrible thing that ate my son. And of course I held him. Holding was allowed, wasn't it?
God, this really is the land that time forgot. Wait a sec, did the family blame me for his status?
We don't have to talk about this.
So you believe that I made him sick? You held me responsible, which is another reason why Mike didn't take my calls.
What?
Haven't you done enough? He said to me when I called.
What?
I called down here a lot in Henry's last months. I spoke to Mike. I told him I wanted to come down. Could I please visit to say goodbye to Henry? That December, I called like all the time to see how Henry was doing. I hoped that you or Amy or anybody else might pick up the phone. But I always got Mike.
Mike was the gatekeeper. I remember calls.
Mike would hang up on me, said this was a family time. The last time that I got through, I begged him. And he said, the only reason that I'd want you here is so that I can beat the shit out of you.
No, that never happened.
And he hung up. And the next time I called, I got a message that the number was no longer in service.
I think I need to sit down.
Are you lightheaded? Dizzy?
I just want to sit down. May I have a bottle of water?
He fetches her a water bottle and she drinks.
Mike said there were these nuisance calls, salesmen. He would turn the ringer off. We eventually had the number changed.
I was the nuisance.
We needed quiet in the house that winter. Henry was gone by February.
I searched the internet for a death notice that winter. Nothing. I called the funeral homes down here. Nothing in the Milwaukee papers. I had a number for Amy in Wisconsin, but it was disconnected. Everything was just disconnected. February?
It was a private grief. February 13th. Father McDonald performed the last rites. Henry wanted to be cremated, to have his ashes scattered in Wisconsin. Amy and I were determined to see Henry's wish fulfilled, but Mike and Father McDonald wanted a traditional Catholic ceremony. They pushed for burial in Florida. There was so little of Henry left that putting his body through embalming and viewing in that cruel circus that we've done for years seemed especially inhuman. A compromise was reached. Cremation, and his ashes would be buried in a Catholic cemetery. But Amy and I insisted on a Wisconsin burial, not Florida.
February 13, 1997. I had no idea what became of him.
We had a private funeral mass down here, and Mike chartered a jet to Green Bay. There's a little country church in Door County where we used to vacation in the summer. The church has a beautiful cemetery, rustic. Little box is buried there. Of course, what Henry really wanted was to be scattered. There's an island in Lake Michigan, Chambers Island, that Henry loved as a child.
I remember he said that.
He wanted his ashes scattered there, off Chambers Island. But Mike insisted on a cemetery. Mike usually got what he wanted, not always.
Henry chose you and Mike over me, and you all just took over, closed the gates. All of you. I was with him for a decade. I was prepared to nurse him to the end.
Well, thank God you don't need a nurse, that you didn't get sick. You're getting treatments?
Treatments.
Your treatment. They say there's a treatment now, a cocktail. I love the sound of that, a drug cocktail.
I don't have HIV. I didn't give Henry HIV. You know, not all gay people have HIV. And some do, and they are healthy. Do you get the papers down here? God, New Yorkers, we really don't have a clue about what goes on beyond the island of Manhattan.
We all love our islands, kiddo, and I do read the papers, the Naples Daily News. I read something about the cocktail a long time ago.
It's a chronic disease now like diabetes. Medicine in 2012 is not what it was back in 1996.
Yeah, timing is a bitch. I think of all those people who had polio just before Jonas Salk came along. The cure was just around the corner.
You wonder why you were getting so many nuisance calls from salesmen while Henry was with you. Didn't you think maybe it was his life beyond you reaching out? I'm sorry to spoil the family mythology that Henry lived with some fire-breathing monster. Henry and I were a boring, everyday couple. who washed dishes in the sink and watched Jeopardy and read the Sunday paper on the floor with cups of coffee.
I didn't think you were a monster for doing this to him. I thought you were a monster for not fighting to see him at the end.
Excuse me, I did make an effort, I just said. I called all the time. Did you want me to show up at the guardhouse and demand entry, make my way through the sand traps?
Maybe you should have. Sounds like you feel you should have.
Henry didn't want me here. What did he tell you about us at the end?
I don't recall every minute detail. He said you two broke up and that him being in Florida was for the best.
And you took it at face value?
I didn't dig beyond that. I sensed he was heartbroken. I thought it was very sad, to be honest. I thought it was awful that this man he loved apparently didn't want to see him.
You all felt I didn't want to see him. Henry didn't want me here. He said, "Stay away, my love."
If my husband went AWOL, sick and running into the night, nothing would have stopped me from finding him. Certainly not a gated community. It's a gatehouse, not a guardhouse.
I was terrified of you all, I think for good reason.
Were we so goddamn scary? No, you were terrified of Henry, his sickness, his wasting away.
No, I had witnessed his deterioration, was prepared for it. We'd lost friends before the West Village was ground zero in the 80s. No, the horror, the dread was coming out to you. I mean, coming down to you.
The horror, the dread. So we were the monsters. I don't think so, kiddo.
Sick to my stomach with the idea of being rejected by you. I had no template for facing a hateful family with the truth about who I am.
Hateful family.
From what I knew about you, yes. This was hostile territory with so many unknowns. Am I going to be thrown out of the house? Will there be violence? God, I was 33 and terrified of the same thing that gay kids today worry about at 13. What will the parents think of me? This was all new to me. I never came out to my parents.
So, you make us the villains. Come out to them, not me.
Well, they're dead.
Well, there are things we all wish we'd said and done sooner.
They died when I was a kid.
Look, let's not, please.
And you dare to judge my loyalty. Henry didn't want me here. You didn't want me here. Mike sure as hell didn't. Are you telling me that you and Mike would have been magically transformed, cookies and cocoa on a tray, if I had rung your doorbell back then?
Cards on the table? I don't think I could have handled you being here. And Mike thought your behavior was
What?
immoral, corrupting. Mike had firm convictions. He was a black and white kind of guy.
And you went along with him. You all wanted a monster, someone to blame. Well, I wasn't the monster. Henry went chasing the monster.
Chasing the monster.
Henry got sick because Henry got sad. Henry would get in a mood, and Henry drank.
What?
Henry drank.
News to me. He never touched a drop here.
Henry was an alcoholic.
Henry was not an alcoholic. We're not alcoholics in this family. We're drinkers. We're drinkers.
He was a secret drunk. He didn't want you to know.
I saw no evidence of his drinking when he visited.
Well, secret drunks are drunk secretly.
Well, I never knew him to drink. We thought it was odd, frankly, his teetotaling. Hell, I bet you drank with him.
The more he drank, the less I drank, until I gave it up completely. Someone had to keep guard, keep watch.
What made Henry so unhappy?
Something would trigger him, and down he would go into his mood, into his bottles, and into the inevitable comment that he needed some time away from me. Time alone at the movies. Time alone at the beach, at a bar. Walking in the park at night.
Alone.
Or not, as it turns out. Henry saw other men, met other men,
I very much doubt that. I don't know that I want to hear this.
It was the early 90s.
When could this happen, these moods? Why?
Weekends, especially Sundays. It started Sundays, like clockwork.
So we was decompressing on weekends. We all drink on weekends. So what?
Some weekends would last deep into the next week.
Well, we spoke to him every Sunday. He seemed perfectly fine. You know, he seemed up when I would talk to him. I'd hand the phone to Mike and they would talk.
Mike would talk.
Mike came on strong, I'm sure. He was a black and white kind of guy.
Yeah.
What does yeah mean?
Mike would tell Henry that he was not working hard enough. Mike would tell Henry he should ask for a raise. Mike would tell Henry which way to vote. Mike would tell Henry he should go to church more. Mike would tell Henry to find a woman. Mike was a bully, like clockwork, every Sunday.
Maybe Henry was too goddamn sensitive.
Maybe Mike was too goddamn insensitive.
Mike loved his son. He had strong words. He could be tough, but he was inspiring Henry to greater things.
He inspired him right into the darkness.
Well, why didn't you stop Henry at the door?
Why didn't you stop Mike from hectoring his son to death?
How dare you? No one grieved as openly or as hard as Mike when Henry died. I had to close these patio doors to keep the noise, the wailing inside the house. It was awful. At the end, when Henry was pumped up with the opioids and we stowed over his bed, Henry looked up at Mike and said, "I miss Henry." He closed his eyes to sleep, and Mike began shaking and fell to his knees, crying uncontrollably. I dropped to the floor with him beside Henry's bed, and Mike said in a kind of whisper, weeping, "Connie, I did the best I could with him. I did the best with what I know about the world. I just held him in my arms and rocked him. My Michael." And then time passed. And we sent away the hospital bed and the equipment. And we put his bedroom back together. We boxed up everything of Henry's, put it away. And we went back to our routine, to the golf course, to mass, to poker nights, to bird watching, to fundraising for Ave Maria University, and to the endless sunshine and the silence. 15 years of not talking about Henry, like he never existed. Because talking stirs up things that should stay buried. You show up all sympathetic with your offer to clear out my husband's belongings. It's so wildly inappropriate. It is so goddamn
Audacious.
It is. It's so goddamn audacious.
I wanted to see Henry at the end desperately. I begged him not to leave New York. Begged him to let me come down to Florida. He said he didn't want me to see him ugly, that beautiful man.
My golden boy.
I told him he could never be ugly to me, but still he abandoned me for you, and I let it happen. I let it happen. I miss him every day.
You don't know what missing means until you lose a child. You'll never be a parent, so you'll never know, thank God. That's one consolation for being gay.
Yep, gay people don't have children, right? Being gay is something to be consoled. Look, I'm not trying to compete with your grief. I came to you trying to put something to rest, you know?
I don't tuck my children into bed anymore. You want comfort, go to your own mother.
My mother is dead.
Jesus,
And it's time for me to go to the Holiday Inn.
Henry,
But she stops him.
Henry, wait, stop, sit, please, please. I answered one of your phone calls. that Christmas. I picked up the phone once when Mike was out golfing. You said, "I'm Henry." And I was stricken silent. My blood ran cold as if some horror movie monster was on the other end. I stood there and I said, "Nobody's home." And I hung up.
I remember this. I thought it was a cleaning lady or something.
I should have invited you down.
Thank you for saying that.
Don't blame Henry for coming here, coming home. We're all pulled toward our parents somehow, even when we don't speak the same language. It's instinct, even if it's complicated. Or maybe it wasn't about me and Mike. Maybe the truth is he was protecting you, sparing you from the anguish, witnessing the brutality of his last days. There are some things you can't unsee. I understand that impulse in him, to run, to hole up, to disappear. I had a cancer scare a few years back. I was given chemo. I lost all my hair. My skin turned gray. I didn't want Mike to see me decayed. I almost left him. I thought, I'll go off to some island in the Keys and I'll rent a house and lock myself in with the booze and the pills and goodbye.
What happened?
I turned a corner. The treatment worked. If only there had been a treatment for Henry. He and Amy would have inherited this house, that moon.
They look up at the moon together.
I think now that I think of it, Henry, why did you and Mike comfortable in your last days with him? Without the complication of you dealing with what we were to each other. So he kept me out of your home. Your kid was loyal to you. He loved you.
Thank you for saying that.
It's the truth.
The truth lies somewhere in the middle. You should have pushed. I should have invited. Mike should have been kinder. Henry should have been braver. Your fault, my fault, their fault.
Not black and white.
No, life is all gray. It's easy to look at someone like Mike and say, he's an absolutist, he's unbendable. But I saw him struggle with the gray. And I loved him for it unconditionally. I know that you know what I mean. And now, if you'll forgive me, I am going to bed, not to sleep. Please don't leave tonight. I'll feel better knowing that I didn't send you out into the night. Stay here. Swim. There's nothing like a swim in the moonlight. What time does your plane leave tomorrow?
About noon. What's your tomorrow like?
By tomorrow at 7 a.m., I will slip out of the house and go to the 8 o'clock mass. I won't be seeing you in the morning. Help yourself to whatever you can find in the kitchen. We'll say goodbye tonight. Without any hard feelings, yes?
Henry extends his hand as she shakes it with her good hand. They do not cry or hug. They are emotionally sober, and they share an awkward handshake.
Thank me for inviting me into your home. Will you tell Amy that it was good talking with her?
Of course. Oh, my sweet Amy. I really ought to talk to her more. Good night, Henry.
Good night.
She exits. After a moment, lights within the house go dark and the moonlight becomes more apparent. Henry holds the swim trunks in his hands and the lights from the pool flicker on the walls of the lanai. Scene 4. The lanai around 8 a.m. the next morning. brighter bird noises and sunshine, the glass doors are still open.
Hello, Mother, Henry. Hello, pastry delivery. Good morning.
Henry appears at the glass doors behind her, wearing Henry's swim trunks, and his hair is wet.
Hey,
Oh, hey, Henry.
sorry, I was about to get in the shower and wash off the chlorine.
It's a great pool, right? They keep it at like 85 degrees, though. Is it possible to sweat underwater? Hey, I brought you a Kringle.
What?
A Kringle. You're a chef and you don't know what a Kringle is. It's the state pastry of Wisconsin. It's a Kringle. It's a Danish, flat, flaky. I got cherry and cheese. Hey, you like cherry and cheese?
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a Kringle.
You don't say.
Sorry, I'm a little hopped up on caffeine. I am trying to counteract yesterday's booze. Mother, I brought Kringle and coffee and tea for you, Mother. She loves her tea.
She went to Mass.
Oh, God, well, of course she did. Well, more Kringle for us then. Tear away at it. This is more than a Kringle, of course.
Okay.
It's a peace offering. I was shitty to you yesterday. Rather than say I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm sorry with Kringle. That's what we do in Wisconsin. Enjoy your Kringle.
Kringle accept.
They eat and they relish.
It's good, right? Oof, I left Dave and the kids at the hotel buffet and escaped for Kringle. How's my mother doing? I'm sure she wasn't exactly exciting company. What'd you talk about? There's a limited list of things my parents discuss, I'm afraid. I can't think of what you might have talked about.
She talked about her Uncle Earl.
Uncle Earl? My great Uncle Earl? That's a blast from the past. I haven't heard that name in ages. He was a recluse or something, right? What brought up that subject? Oh, maybe I know. He was gay, I think. Yeah, Henry said that to me once. Henry used his gay sonar and figured out Uncle Earl's story.
Gaydar.
What?
Gaydar.
Gay radar, gay sonar, whatever. Well, what did she have to say about Uncle Earl?
You should ask her one day. Talk to her.
Well, what else did you talk about?
Henry. We talked mostly about Henry.
Really? She doesn't talk to me about Henry. I wonder how long she knew about Henry. I mean, mothers know, right? When did Mom first think that Henry was gay?
We didn't talk about things that far back.
But great Uncle Earl, you went that far back. That's ancient history.
We talked about Henry's last year, mostly.
Really?
Mm.
That's more than I get from her. Hey, when do people know they're gay?
When did you know you were straight?
Oh God, I was kissing boys when I was like 9. I exposed myself to Jimmy Ratterman in like 4th grade.
Expose yourself.
I showed him my, my,
Kringle.
yes. And I wanted to see his Kringle, but it was not to be. He told a priest, Jimmy Ratterman ratted me out. Ooh. I remember after we watched an episode of the Phil Donahue show about gay people, I asked Henry, "Are you a gay?" And he said, "No, I'm just not interested in girls right now." And that lasted like forever. He was about 12 at the time. He was too young to be gay. It can be learned, being gay, right?
Oh, Lord.
What? Oh, Lord.
You know when you know and know it can't be learned. I knew when I was 10.
A 10?
Awareness for Kringles is not limited to your experience. It was at summer camp, a Catholic boys' camp in French Lick, Indiana.
Catholic boys camp. My parents would approve. You're Catholic.
Raised, anyway.
Well, you're not going to tell me Catholic boys camp turned you gay.
I wasn't saying that.
More like being in a place called French Lick turned you gay.
It was the summer Nixon resigned, and the entire camp was assembled in the mess hall to watch it on TV. All I could look at was this junior counselor at the end of our table eating Dutch windmill cookies. I thought he was beautiful. And I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it made me different, and I knew it was wrong. That the world thought it was wrong. And it made me deeply unhappy and deeply happy at the same time. And it took a long time before I was just deeply happy about it.
Well, what did your parents say about it? They knew.
I never had that scene with them coming out.
Seems like such a difficult life.
Made difficult by others. The hard part about it for me was the terror of having the talk with my parents. I was terrified to come out to them, but I wanted them to know me. I was going to tell them in the summer of my senior year before college, but in July on the way home from church, our car was hit head on.
You were with them?
Yeah,
God, Henry.
I lost my chance. I went to college that fall, moved to New York 4 years later. I fell in love with your brother. Anyway, the point is, coming out was different 30 years ago. Today, my high school in Indianapolis has a gay straight student alliance. Unthinkable before.
Progress.
On the face of it, yes. But there are still scared kids out there.
I think one of my sons is gay.
Wow. Which one? The poet? Shakespeare?
The jock, Bart Starr, Billy.
Cool. Why do you think he's gay?
I checked out his laptop computer.
You didn't.
I did.
Dare I ask?
I found show tunes.
Oh?
Like Jersey Boys and Mamma Mia. Isn't that a gay thing, show tunes?
Jersey Boys and Mamma Mia. These are like the least gay musicals. This is no evidence. Maybe if you had said Mame and Hello Dolly.
Yeah, I found those too.
Oh.
What does that mean?
Don't get wrapped up in cultural cliches. These are factors, not facts. I mean, your mother likes show tunes.
True. You saying my mother's a gay man?
That's right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, there's a great theater program at St. Gregory's where the boys go. Billy loves it. Both boys do. Dave hates going to shows, hates it.
You should bring the boys to New York sometime for a show and dinner. I'm opening my own restaurant this fall.
Your own restaurant?
Yeah, I've been working on it for a while. You should come.
Dave hates New York. Nothing interests him. He's not curious. He's just Dave.
Leave Dave at home. Bring the kids.
I wish our boys had known Henry.
You said that yesterday.
Did I? I got pregnant with Danny a month after Henry's passing. I think the boys would have loved Henry.
And if it turns out that Billy is gay, he would certainly have benefited from having a gay uncle, a role model, less alone.
He's not alone. He has me. And, you know, Dave. But I hear you. I mean, he's probably not gay.
What would you do if Billy told you he was gay?
Funny, I asked Dave that same question, and this look of horror crossed his face. He told me, Billy's not gay. But I pressed him, and real serious, he said, I would do everything I could to change him.
And you would go along?
Guess I don't know what I feel about a lot of things. But I'm trying to be open.
If you come to New York with or without the kids, look me up. I'm at the same address, Henry's old address.
On Bleecker Street.
David and I live there now.
Oh, there's a David. Oh, you have a Dave too.
David, my fiance.
Your fiance. Ooh, you got a picture of David? What does David think of you coming down here?
Well, considering
Shit, he's adorable.
after I postponed the wedding twice, he encouraged me to come down here, thinking it would push me.
Wow, he's super masculine.
Push me forward. He's an actor. He believes in acting on things, taking an active role. He's amazing.
I mean, you're masculine too, but woof, he's more masculine than my Dave. Wow. Oh, I think Mom and Dad would have approved of you. It was those airy-fairy gays, as Dad used to call them, that were a little too much for them.
Sounds like they would have hated it if I or Henry had been effeminate.
Oh, we would have. I mean, they would have.
There's a right kind of gay and a wrong kind of gay.
Something like that, I guess.
Or maybe Henry was actually the wrong kind of gay, but you never knew it because he shoved it so far down and tried to push himself so far up.
I don't think so. Anyway, if my kid was gay, I wouldn't mind him being just like you. I just wish there were more like you.
Not so airy-fairy.
Even as the words came out of my mouth, I was thinking, stop talking, Amy, eat the Kringle, distract away from the shit you're saying. God, I am my mother's child.
I hope your kid is exactly who and what he is meant to be.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Well, I think this summer is finally a good time to say goodbye to Henry.
How do you mean?
I still have his, what do they call it? Cremains, his ashes. Dad hated that Henry wanted to be cremated and scattered in Lake Michigan. You know, old school Catholics didn't like that. He and Mom fought about it. Terrible, terrible fight. But finally he said yes to cremation, but no to scattering. But I was the one who picked up the ashes from the funeral home. And when I was there, I bought a second cremation box. I filled the duplicate box with sand, and we buried that in a Catholic cemetery up north as a show for Dad. I took Henry home with me, with Mom's blessing. She and I agreed that we'd scatter his ashes on our own when the time was right. I've tried to talk with her about a date, but when I do, she says, no, we don't need to talk about that right now.
Wow, you lied to Mike. That's kind of huge.
Mom and I promised Henry that we'd honor his wish.
You and your mom shared a secret. You are rebels.
Please. Mother and I are a couple of cherry-picking Catholics from way back. My mother told me she went on the pill after Henry was born. Anyway, Henry's been with me all these years on a shelf next to Dave's hockey trophies. There's this island on Lake Michigan, Chambers Island, that Henry loved when we were kids. In the summer, we're renting a place in Door County like we used to do in the old days. Dave stays in Milwaukee, mostly working and hanging out with his old frat buddies. Dave hates Door County. I'm gonna invite Mom up and take the boys and her to the edge of Lake Michigan and set Henry free. Have you ever been to Door County?
No.
It's a peninsula. Our family has been connected to that peninsula for generations. That's where we'll go. You should come too. Seriously.
This summer.
Yeah, like July, if you want. I'll give you the dates, my number. We'll figure it out. You can stay with us. Bring David. Oh shit, this coffee needs more milk. You want more milk?
He exits into the house and calls from inside.
What's this? Hey, did you see this?
She returns with a milk jug and also a photo album and a large plastic sandwich bag of photo scraps. She hands Henry a note.
Did you see this? It was on the countertop for you.
Henry reads aloud from the note as Amy opens the bag and pulls out individual photos.
Years ago, I rescued these and kept them in the back of our junk drawer. I plan to put the pieces together again. Safe travels. Constance.
Amy puts on her glasses and holds up a photo scrap. She hands it to Henry and he peels a photo from the album and holds them next to one another.
Oh my God. Look, there you are. It's you.
They look at the photo together. No tears, just relief. She puts her hand on his shoulder. Scene 5. A small, tastefully appointed lobby or anteroom in an upper floor of a building in Manhattan. A doorway leads to a party room from which we hear music, people, laughter, clinking of glasses or plates. It's an event space for a wedding reception, and a sign indicates the name of the grooms. A large table is covered with gifts and a sign in books that's on a pedestal. When the elevator door rings, Constance appears, dressed as if for a nice dinner or a night at the theater. She carries a beautifully wrapped gift. She walks to the gift table and deposits it, then rearranges the gifts to make hers more prominent. She checks to make sure she isn't watched and quickly signs the guest book and heads back to the elevator. She pushes the button as a gleeful Henry appears in the doorway dressed in a suit fit for a groom, rushing to her with champagne flute in hand.
Constance, oh my God, is it really you?
Oh, God, you caught me.
I can't believe you're here. What are you doing?
I feel so stupid. I thought I would
No, I feel stupid. It didn't occur to me that you would come, so I didn't send you an invitation, and I thought inviting you would just stir things up. How did you find me?
I Google searched you. I'm learning new skills in widowhood. I Googled you and your wedding announcement magically appeared in my email. The New York Times, very impressive. Though for my taste, they gave away too many details. The day of the wedding, the name of the reception hall, anyone could just show up unannounced, even a crazy lady from Florida.
You came all the way up from Florida just to...
No. I'm with a group of ladies from the club. I organized an impromptu theater tour, seeing a bunch of shows over the long weekend. This is just a quick gift drop-off before I meet the girls for a show.
Your impromptu theater trip just happened to coincide with my wedding day.
An odd coincidence.
Almost too odd.
I'm sticking to my story.
Oh my God, it's so sweet. It's so,
Audacious.
It is. It is totally audacious, and I love that. Come in for a drink. Look, I'm drinking champagne. I drink.
In moderation, I'm sure.
Come in, meet people. I want to drink to you.
No.
Please. And I want you to meet my partner, my husband, David.
Lord, does David even know about me?
Of course, no secrets. He knows all about Henry.
No. Who am I to him? It's his day, your day.
He takes her hand and pulls her deeper into the room towards the party.
Please, come meet our friends. Come meet Henry's friends.
No, I can't. How do you explain me? Party crasher?
How do you want me to explain you?
Listen, you won't have to. It is 7:30 and I have an 8 o'clock curtain.
My other mother-in-law. That's how I'll introduce you.
Oh, Lord, that makes me sound like Kay Ballard.
Okay. You're Constance.
I love the thought. And I'm sorry, but I really couldn't. I'm happy for you. I really am. But it's hard for me to get out of my mind that in a different world, this might have been Henry's wedding day.
There's a burst of laughter from the other room.
In the laughter of our friends, you can hear his joy.
Did he laugh?
Oh, yes. All the time.
I'm going to meet my friends now for a play.
I understand. I do. What play are you seeing?
It's a musical, actually. Something my grandson recommended. He wants me to bring him back a playbill.
Hey, you like a good pot of tea with milk? Meet me tomorrow for tea. There's a great place in the village called Tea and Sympathy. Big scones, clotted cream, the works. Meet me anytime you say.
Well, aren't you off on your honeymoon? Don't gay people do that?
We do that.
You do that, voodoo that.
We do so well. We're taking our honeymoon in the winter. We're both working this week. He's an actor. He's shooting his series this week.
An actor? Do I know him?
You would like him. He encouraged me to go meet you.
I like him already.
I have time for tea tomorrow with you.
I have a matinee tomorrow, so...
Oh, how about noon, before your matinee? On Greenwich Avenue, Tea and Sympathy. Do you want me to write it down?
No, I can find it.
She pushes the elevator button and then extends her hand out awkwardly in a double shake.
I am so pleased for you. Congratulations.
He fully embraces her, a hug, and she returns it.
Thank you for the gift.
You asked me before if there were any gay people in my life, friends and family. I was raised to not see them, I think. But they were everywhere in my life. My cousin Ruth, I think, the daughter of Joanne, my best friend. Her daughter's name is Sally. My kid's music teacher in elementary school, Mr. Cassidy, who was run out of town on an innuendo in the 70s. And I do believe my first boyfriend, Marty Kimball. He was my first kiss. How about that? And there were two men who shared a house 2 doors down from us in Milwaukee. One was named Mark and, I don't remember his friend's name. We kept our distance. They didn't look like us, even though their car looked like ours, their lawn, the flowers around their mailbox, all just like ours. They always invited us to their Christmas party. We never went. Edgar. That was his name, Mark and Edgar. And of course, my Uncle Earl. Anyway, all of them, they're all gone now. I never really knew them.
Well, there are other people in the world. There's still time to know them.
And if I'm being honest, my grandson too.
Billy, it's not too late to get to know him. Your second act is just beginning.
I am deep into my second act, I'm afraid.
Well, David likes to say that life is a 5-act play. Actors say shit like that.
From his mouth to God's ear.
The elevator rings and the doors open.
See you tomorrow.
Constance blows him a kiss and exits into the elevator. The doors close. Henry hears the celebration in the other room and he bounds towards the lighted doorway to the wedding reception as dance music plays. Laughter, joy, music. End of play.